Joining us right now is former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. He is the author of the new book, March to the Majority, out on June 6th. Pick it up. Newt, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here.
No, it's great to be with you. And that was, I think, a very interesting challenge last night. You can't tell whether they really underestimated the size of the number of people who were going to come to Twitter, or whether some of the folks who work for Elon Musk we're happy to have it crash because it's, after all, a pretty left-wing employee group that's probably pretty anti-DeSantis. But it certainly wasn't probably the best send-off that DeSantis could have hoped for in terms of running. He's a very smart guy. He's been a remarkably good governor of Florida, and last night did not reflect any of those positive skills.
Yeah, I was surprised that he chose Twitter to do that, to have that conversation with Elon Musk. Your thoughts on Ron DeSantis today versus what we saw from the Florida governor back in February, where he was riding high, but he certainly lost some oomph in the last few months as President Trump has gained ground.
Well, I think part of the challenge is that even for a state as big as Florida, running for governor is a different league than running for president. And to run for president against Donald Trump has in the past not been a very positive experience for Republicans. There were 15 other people in the race in 2015 and 16. Not a single one of them grew. I mean, look where Jeb Bush was as everybody assumed the probable nominee, and he shrank dramatically. Look, John Kasich. You go down the list. Trump is a very formidable competitor, and frankly, the Durham report, which indicated so clearly that the FBI and the Justice Department, the intelligence community, and the news media were all dishonest and corrupt about the Russian issue in 2016. That tremendously helped Trump because it allows him to waive that report and just say, look, don't believe me. Look what John Durham said, and recognize that much of the stuff you've been told is a lie. And I think that's part of why you're seeing Trump come back. The other part, frankly, is as Biden fails, the Trump years look better and better. So the dilemma for Governor DeSantis or any other candidate is you sooner or later are going to have to take Trump head on. The problem is the people who are for Trump are really for Trump. So you may, in fact, be alienating the very voters you want when you do that. I think there are 3 polls out this morning. All 3 polls show Trump 30 points ahead. And I would say, by the way, that I think Vivek Ramaswamy may be the most interesting new candidate because he's in the Trump tradition of being a complete outsider, able to speak his mind, able to be risk-taking. And you watch him now, he's actually rising in the polls. I mean, if there's a race for 3rd place, he's pretty close to Vice President Pence.
Wow.
In that race.
Well, look, I mean, the Democrats try to spin this idea that, they want Trump because they don't think Trump can beat Biden. Do you buy into that? I'm not so sure. I think that they say that because they want that to gain flight because they're actually afraid of Trump, a Trump-Biden match-off. What do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think the Harvard poll, for example, that just came out, shows Trump winning by 8 points. And then here's the problem, and this is what makes the debt ceiling negotiation so interesting. In terms of what you reported a few minutes ago, the Federal Reserve raising interest rates affects the private sector, but it doesn't affect government spending. What the House Republicans and Speaker McCarthy are doing is the parallel to what the Fed's doing. They're saying to the government, you got to slow down your spending in order to reduce inflation. Now, in that kind of a setting, if the fight becomes about inflation, the border, crime, exactly the things that Governor DeSantis mentioned, Biden is in deep trouble. And in fact, he's in so much trouble that I think by late this year, you'll see people saying he shouldn't run in his own party. And you're going to see, whether it's Robert Kennedy Jr. or somebody else, give him a serious race in the primaries next spring, just because he's going to be unacceptable. Yeah,
and the Biden campaign is planning to, apparently, reportedly, planning to use the DeSantis record in Florida against him. They claim that, his record will help them flip the state to blue, saying his efforts against abortion, his fight with Disney are a warning to the rest of the country, Newt. What do you think of that?
Well, I think the people in the White House are delusional. I think they completely misunderstand the country. The Fox poll, I think, this morning showed that something like 70% of the country is opposed to raising the debt ceiling without spending cuts. I mean, so I think they can try it, and they will fail just as they're failing at governing the country.
All right, Newt, great analysis as always. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.